For a long time, people didn't know what was up with the old trailer on the edge of town. It used to be owned by a guy named Ethan, who disappeared over 10 years ago without leaving any clues. Some folks said he took a lot of money and ran away. But it wasn't until Ethan's son, Kevin, got the place that the truth came out. When Kevin started cleaning up the trailer, he found a big secret his dad had been hiding. Kevin stood outside the trailer looking at it. It was really old and broken. He wondered why his dad never told him about it. But when he went inside, it smelled musty and was full of dusty stuff. Kevin started going through everything, hoping to figure out what was going on. He found something strange that didn't belong there. It was just the first of many clues he'd find. But little did he know, searching for answers would bring him even more questions. Why did Ethan disappear without a trace? Why did he leave the trailer to Kevin? And what will Kevin find inside? When Kevin received a letter from the government letting him know he had inherited something from his father, he was shocked. It had been a long time since he'd have thought about his father, who had disappeared without a trace when he was just a boy. But the mystery wasn't solved yet. Apparently, his mother had declared his father deceased to the government, hoping to inherit something valuable from him after he had been missing for more than 15 years. But instead, Kevin was the one who inherited the only belonging left of his father, a rundown trailer hidden somewhere deep inside a remote forest. Kevin wasn't so surprised that his father was declared dead. What really shocked him was that his dad left him something he couldn't remember ever being with his dad for. When he told his mom, she was just as amazed. So what was his dad keeping from them? Once Kevin got the coordinates of where the trailer was, he packed up and drove there. The forest was a long 3-hour drive, making him wonder even more. Why hide it so far away? It felt like his blurry memories of his dad didn't match this new info. Who was his dad, really? The forest covered a big hill in the middle of nowhere, with the closest town an hour away. It was so quiet it felt creepy. Kevin followed the route on his phone and saw how deep the trailer was in the forest. His dad really didn't want anyone to find it. Finally, he saw something far away. It was hard to tell if it was the trailer because it blended into the forest. But with each step closer, Kevin knew it was the trailer. He gasped when he got there, seeing how rundown it was. The paint was coming off, the windows were dirty, and the back of the trailer had collapsed. Nature had taken over, and it seemed like no one had touched it in forever. What was Dad doing with this old thing? Kevin wondered, shaking his head. He walked around, checking it out. He hesitated before going in. Something felt off, but after circling the trailer a few times, he knew he had to go in. Kevin opened the creaky door and went in, hit by the musty smell of neglect. Dust and cobwebs covered everything, the piles of stuff scattered around. Determined to get answers, Kevin got to work. But he soon found something weird. He began by throwing everything outside of the trailer. There in the daylight, he could scatter through it and search for clues. He wasn't really sure what he was looking for, but he hoped to at least find something linked to his father. That way, he would be sure his father had been here. The ground was covered in debris and broken pieces of the trailer. Kevin had to wear gloves for his own safety, as he could easily scratch himself on the splintered wood and rusted metal. He began by organizing the pile into smaller piles. Wood on the left, metal on the right, and furniture and other objects in the middle. He didn't care about the mess he made of the trailer. It was already in horrible condition, and there was no way he would be able to fix the trailer over time. It was a lost cause, with its only purpose now to provide Kevin with new information about his missing father. Finally, as the sun began to set, Kevin found something. A tiny rusty key lay hidden, buried underneath rubbish on the ground. Nothing inside this trailer was locked, so Kevin figured there had to be another location somewhere. His mind raced with speculations. Could there be a hidden safe? He never thought to ever find something of value. All he expected to find was a few photos or maybe a notebook. But as the rumor was about his father leaving with a lot of money, he never figured he could have left some behind. But now he began to get hopeful. Kevin searched the entire trailer again, looking for any signs of a hidden compartment or safe. He examined every inch of the walls, the floors, and the ceiling, tapping and pressing on different areas, trying to find any irregularities. As he was about to give up, he noticed a loose floorboard near the back of the trailer. With a key in hand, he pried open the floorboard and found a hidden compartment underneath. Inside, there was a small notebook. Kevin picked up the notebook with trembling hands and started flipping through its pages. He was shocked to find that it wasn't just a notebook, but his father's journal. The journal was made out of expensive black leather and looked like it was greatly used. A little tie kept the pages together and the book from opening up. His father must have written something of value inside. Why else would he go to such an extent to hide the book? He immediately flipped to the last entry, and his eyes widened as he read the last pages of the journal. They were directly addressed to him, as if his father knew he would eventually find the journal. His father wrote a strange message to him, but the last few sentences were the most chilling of all. "My son, if you read this, I'm gone. It wasn't at my own will, but I had no other choice. Follow the following coordinates and you will find what belongs to you, you only." Kevin sighed. What did this mean? What had his father gotten himself into? There was no time to spare. His father's handwriting looked different on the last page than on all the other pages. It looked like he was in a hurry, with the last letter of the last words stretching out as if he was pulled away mid-writing. It set off a series of questions in Kevin's head. Kevin quickly typed the coordinates into his phone. He was surprised that the coordinates led him to a storage unit not far from his hometown. It was a 2-hour drive back in the direction of his house, so he locked up the trailer with a padlock he had brought and drove to the storage unit. When Kevin got there, he realized he passed by this place loads of times without really noticing it. But now, with his dad's journal and feeling like he really needed to find out stuff, Kevin didn't waste any time. He knew he was about to get answers to his questions, or at least he hoped so. But there was one big thing his dad never wrote down, and Kevin hadn't figured it out yet. He parked his car and walked to the storage unit place feeling pretty sure of himself. But when he got there and saw all those red garage doors, he didn't know which one to go to. His dad never said which unit it was. So Kevin went up to the manager and asked which one was under his dad's name. But here's the weird part. There was no unit under his dad's name. Kevin was really confused. He kept spelling the name over and over, but nothing showed up. He started to feel really frustrated. All he wanted was some answers, but it was turning out to be a big hassle. Kevin started feeling like giving up and just going back home, never thinking about this awful day again. But then he remembered something his dad wrote, "You will find what belongs to you, you only." Could the unit be under his own name? Why would his dad do something like that? And then it hit him. Of course, his dad wouldn't use his own name, especially if he was in danger. So Kevin asked the manager to look under his own name, and they found it. Unit number 33 was under Kevin's full name. Kevin hurried to the unit and saw how old it looked. There were cobwebs everywhere, and the padlock was all rusty. Nobody had been there in ages. The padlock seemed small enough for the key, but it was stuck because of all the rust. Kevin tried to turn it, but it wouldn't move. Luckily, the manager had an idea. He sprayed something on the lock to make it work better. He'd done this before because people forgot about their units more than you think. After waiting a bit, the lock finally opened with a bang. Kevin's heart was racing. Why am I so nervous? He wondered. He thanked the manager but asked him to stick around a bit longer. He didn't know why, but he didn't want to be alone. Kevin slowly lifted the garage door of Unit 33, revealing a small, dimly lit space. He stepped inside and his eyes widened in surprise. The unit was filled with stacks of old, dusty boxes covered in cobwebs. It looked like someone had hurriedly stashed away their belongings and abandoned them there. A thick layer of dust covered the floor, leaving prints of their boots as they walked. The boxes were taped shut and didn't have writing on them, so the only way of finding out the contents was to open them. But Kevin hesitated. What if these boxes only disappointed him? Suddenly, Kevin's heart started to race. What if he made a mistake by coming here? Was this really worth replacing his fond memories with his father with possible disappointment? Kevin feared he would find something he'd rather wouldn't have known about his father. But it was too late to turn back now. He started opening up a few boxes and a wave of nostalgia washed over him. He saw his favorite toys from when he was just a little boy and photo albums of him and his father going on their usual adventures. Kevin smiled as he couldn't believe his father had kept all of this stuff for so many years. His worries washed away and he started to open more and more boxes. The whole unit was filled with memories and things his father kept of Kevin. Kevin felt really mixed up with both sad and happy feelings. He wanted to believe that this was what his dad wanted him to find out, but he felt like there was still more to discover. As Kevin looked around more, he suddenly saw something in the back of the storage unit. There was a door that led to a small room. The manager was super surprised because regular units don't have extra rooms like that. Kevin thought his dad must have built the wall and door himself to make a secret room. They slowly went towards the wall and looked at it closely. It wasn't made of normal bricks or cement, but of thin, cardboard-like material. It was definitely homemade. But why did his dad make it? Kevin tried to open the door, but it was locked. He couldn't believe it. How many locks did he have to deal with to find out his dad's secrets? He thought his dad tried really hard, but Kevin was tired of looking for keys, so he stepped back and kicked the door open. The door flew off its hinges and made a loud noise when it hit the ground. Dust went up, and Kevin and the manager coughed as they stepped into the room. It was hard to see because of all the dust. In the secret room, Kevin found shelves full of books, old maps, and papers. There was a big desk, a small lamp, and a board covered in notes and pictures. It seemed like an office, and Kevin wondered what his dad was doing here. The manager was shocked when he came into the room. Kevin realized this was something unusual. He started looking through the papers, trying to understand what they meant. Some were in code and some were old newspapers and pictures. Kevin didn't know what it all meant, but he knew his dad was up to something serious. He bumped his toe on something under the desk. When he looked, he found a hidden chest. He hoped it wasn't locked, and luckily, it wasn't. Inside, he found papers and a photo tied together. They showed that some powerful people in town were corrupt. They did bad things, including hiding what happened to Kevin's dad. Kevin was angry and sad when he realized how bad things were in his town. He saw a picture of his dad with other people fighting for justice. His dad was against corruption all along. Kevin's mind raced with questions. Why had his father kept this evidence hidden? Why did he disappear? What happened to him? Somehow, this discovery gave Kevin a bit of hope. Could his father still be alive? Determined to find the truth, Kevin decided to confront the only person who could have known about this all along. He thanked the manager for his help, grabbed the box of evidence he had gathered, and drove to his mother's house. She had to know more about this, Kevin figured. You can't be married to someone for all those years and not know what they were up to, right? Kevin was greeted with mixed emotions when he arrived at his mother's house. His mother, Jessica, seemed surprised and confused to see him. She was hesitant to talk about Kevin's father and seemed to be avoiding eye contact. Kevin felt a knot forming in his stomach as he realized his mother might know more than she would admit. Standing at the door, Kevin asked to be let in, and his mother, seeing the box in his arms, had a strange look on her face, one that Kevin couldn't decipher as sadness, confusion, or shame. He demanded answers, and his mother sighed deeply, asking him to sit down. His mom came back with a box. "This is everything I have left of your dad," she said. "He didn't just lie to you, Kevin. He lied to me too. He left us both. I'd always hoped he'd come back, but it won't happen. Your dad was complicated." She said Kevin's dad always kept his job a secret, saying he got fired or quit. They argued when she found out he was dealing with dangerous people to protect the family. A few days later, he left and never came back. He wrote a letter to Jessica saying it was for their safety. Jessica showed Kevin the letter, crying. Kevin and his mom cried together, wondering if the bad guys got to his dad. They read the letter, but Jessica had more. She gave Kevin another letter from his dad, asking to be declared dead for peace of mind. Kevin felt relieved his dad was alive, but sad they might never see him again. Kevin worked hard to fight corruption like his dad wanted. With help from the police and media, they got rid of the bad officials. The town got better, and Kevin hoped his dad would come home one day.